The Silent Sentinel. The stars never truly forgave Earth for its silence. For 3 centuries, the blue-green planet had been a mystery, a ghost in the galactic community. No transmissions, no ships, no diplomats. The silence had begun abruptly. After the Cataclysm War with the Vex Imperium had left Earth's major cities in ruins and its orbital defenses shattered. In the Grand Hall of the Galactic Council on Centauri Prime, Ambassador Zorek of the Thalassian Confederation stroked his azure facial tendrils as he addressed the assembly. 300 years without a whisper, he said, his voice carrying across the chamber. Our probes detect their cities rebuilt, their atmosphere healing, yet they hide behind their silence like a child beneath blankets. The humans have abandoned their place among us. The holographic displays showed the latest surveillance images of Earth, gleaming metropolises nestled within restored landscapes, vast oceans clean once more. But no spacecraft leaving orbit, no stations beyond their moon, just silence. Perhaps they've devolved, suggested Kalara, the insectoid representative of the hive networks. Their technology appears primitive now. Our anthropologists suggest they may have entered a religious phase, rejecting stellar travel as hubris. Few remembered that Earth had once been a rising power. Humans had expanded rapidly, establishing colonies on Mars and Europa, venturing into the asteroid belt with remarkable innovation despite their limited technology. Their adaptability had concerned many established species. Then came the war. The Vex, threatened by humanity's unexpected rise, had struck with overwhelming force. Earth's defenses had crumbled within weeks, and when the dust settled, Earth had simply stopped speaking to the stars. Commander Alara Way stood on the observation deck of Phoenix Station, hidden beneath the lunar surface on the far side of Earth's moon. At 42, she carried herself with the quiet certainty of someone born into humanity's great secret. Her dark eyes scanned the readouts, monitoring the hidden network of quantum sensors that kept watch on every approach to the Sol system. Status report on the Lazarus Protocol, she requested, her voice calm. Lieutenant Dara Chen, barely 25 and brilliant, looked up from her console. Final diagnostics complete, Commander. The quantum beacon is fully calibrated. We can break silence whenever the Council gives the order. Wei nodded slowly. 300 years of preparation. 300 years of rebuilding, rethinking, and remaking ourselves. She turned to the reinforced viewport that showed Earth hanging in the darkness. Our ancestors chose silence not out of fear, but foresight. The Phoenix Initiative had been humanity's greatest gamble. After the Vex had devastated Earth's infrastructure and killed billions, the surviving leaders had made a radical decision: complete isolation from the galactic community. Not surrender, but strategic withdrawal. While appearing primitively isolated, Earth would secretly rebuild, advance, and prepare. Your grandfather would be proud, said Admiral Takahashi, entering the observation deck. At 80, he was one of the few who remembered meeting the architects of the Phoenix Initiative. He always said you'd be the one to lead us back to the stars. Wei turned to the elder officer. Do you think we're ready, Admiral? 3 centuries is a long time. The galaxy will have changed. That was always the point, Takahashi replied. While they believed us broken, we transformed. The question isn't whether we're ready, Commander. It's whether they are ready for what we've become. Life on Earth during the Silent Era had evolved in ways no alien observer could have predicted. On the surface, human civilization appeared to have rebuilt along traditional lines: cities, transportation networks, environmental restoration projects, nothing that would raise alarms among watching eyes. But beneath this conventional exterior lay the true miracle of human ingenuity. Quantum computing had accelerated beyond anything the galactic races had achieved. Neural integration technology allowed humans to interface directly with machines and each other. Molecular manufacturing had advanced to the point where matter itself could be reshaped at the atomic level. Most significant was the development of consciousness technology, the ability to project and receive thoughts across vast distances without detectable signals. What appeared to alien observers as a planet without interstellar communication was, in reality, a civilization that had transcended conventional communication entirely. In New Shanghai, Ilara visited her mother in the family's ancestral home, a graceful structure of living architecture that responded to the inhabitants' needs. Maya Wei, once a brilliant physicist who had pioneered quantum entanglement communication, now spent her days tending to her garden. "The council has approved the signal," Ilara said, watching her mother carefully arrange bonsai trees. "After 300 years, we're going to speak again." Maya's hands paused, hovering over a tiny branch. "And you'll deliver the message." "Yes." "When the Vex attacked, I was younger than you are now," Maya said quietly. "I watched the skies burn. Your father died defending the lunar colonies. We survived because we disappeared, because we made ourselves small in their eyes." She looked up at her daughter. "Once you send that signal, we can never be small again." Ilara knelt beside her mother. "That was always the plan. Rebuild, advance, return. Return not as supplicants, but as equals, or more," Maya finished. "Your father would be proud of the commander you've become." She touched her daughter's face. "But remember, with the power we now possess comes great responsibility. We must not become what once destroyed us." The decision to break silence was not made lightly. Earth's unified council, the governing body representing all human settlements across the solar system, debated for months before reaching consensus. "The galactic balance of power has shifted," argued Councillor Adebayo of the African Union. "The Vex have been contained by the Alliance of Seven. The Thalassian Confederation controls trade routes. If we wait longer, we may find ourselves irrelevant." "Or we could maintain our advantage," countered Councillor Zhang. "Every year we advance further. Our technology now exceeds anything known in the galaxy. Patience has served us well." Ilara stood before the council, her uniform bearing the phoenix emblem that had become humanity's secret symbol. 300 years ago, our ancestors chose silence to ensure survival. They didn't hide out of cowardice, but strategy. The question before us isn't whether to return, that was always the plan, but how we return to the galactic stage. The final vote was unanimous. Earth would speak again. On a clear autumn morning, beneath the restored skies of Earth, Commander Wei gave the order. From a seemingly ordinary communications array in the Gobi Desert, one that alien satellites had observed for decades without interest, rose a signal unlike any the galaxy had ever detected. It wasn't the crude radio waves or even standard quantum pulses used by advanced civilizations. It was something new, a consciousness beacon that resonated directly with the neural patterns of sentient beings across hundreds of light years. The message was simple, yet profound. Earth speaks again. We have not forgotten. We have not been idle. We request dialogue. Accompanying the message was a complex mathematical proof that couldn't be mistaken for anything but the product of highly advanced intelligence. It demonstrated principles of dimensional manipulation that even the most sophisticated galactic races had only theorized about. Within hours, the signal reached the major centers of galactic civilization. On Centauri Prime, the Galactic Council erupted into chaos as the implications became clear. Earth hadn't regressed, it had transformed. Ambassador Jorek's facial tendrils paled as his aides rushed to deliver the analysis. "Impossible," he whispered. "This technology, it's beyond anything we possess. How could they have developed this in isolation?" On the Hive Network's homeworld, Queen Mother Kalara called an emergency conclave of the highest neural clusters. "The humans have deceived us all," she communicated through the collective consciousness. "What else have they hidden beneath their silence?" On distant Vex Prime, Emperor Krax VII received the news with cold calculation. 300 years, he mused to his war council. 300 years we believed them broken, and all the while, they were becoming something else. Prepare the diplomatic fleet immediately. We must assess this threat. On Phoenix Station, Commander Wei monitored the galactic response through the quantum sensor network. Reports flooded in of emergency sessions, diplomatic scrambling, and military alerts across a dozen major powers. "They're afraid," Lieutenant Chen observed, watching the data streams. "The Thalassians have placed their border fleets on high alert. The Alliance of Seven has called an emergency summit." "As expected," Wei replied calmly. "Fear is a natural response to the unexpected. We've been a ghost story in their histories for generations." She turned to Admiral Takahashi. "And the Vex?" "Dispatching a diplomatic mission," he answered. "Along with what appears to be a cloaked military escort. They'll reach our system in approximately 7 days." "Then we have our answer," Wei said. 3 centuries ago, they tried to destroy us because they feared our potential." She gazed at the holographic display showing the approaching ships. "Now we'll show them what humanity has become while the galaxy wasn't watching." Lieutenant Chen looked up from her station, her young face reflecting both excitement and apprehension. "Commander, should we activate the defensive grid?" Wei shook her head. "Not yet. Let them come, let them see. The silence is over, but the true revelation is just beginning." As Earth's hidden defenses tracked the approaching ships, human consciousness, technology monitored the thoughts and intentions of those aboard. The galaxy was about to discover that the silent planet had not merely survived, it had transcended. 300 years of silence had forged a civilization unlike anything the stars had ever known. And now, Earth would speak again. The thunderous. Return the Vex diplomatic vessel. Righteous authority entered the Sol system with calculated caution. Behind it, cloaked in stealth fields they believed undetectable, followed 3 heavy cruisers, insurance against any unfortunate surprises. What the Vex didn't realize was that Earth had been tracking them since they departed Vex Prime. The consciousness technology that humanity had perfected during the Silent Era could detect the neural patterns of sentient crews across vast distances, rendering traditional stealth meaningless. In the command center of Phoenix Station, Commander Wei watched the approaching fleet with quiet composure. "They've brought weapons to a conversation," observed Admiral Takahashi, reviewing the scans of the cloaked vessels. "As expected," Wei replied. "Fear drives them still, after all these centuries." She turned to Lieutenant Chen. "Prepare the reception at harmonic point, and activate the Guardian Mesh, passive mode only. Let's not appear too threatening on their first visit." Earth's Unified Council had designated Harmonic Point, a massive orbital platform constructed in plain sight over the past decade under the guise of a simple weather monitoring station, as the location for first contact. What appeared to alien observers as a primitive orbital platform was, in reality, a marvel of human engineering, built from programmable matter that could reconfigure itself as needed. As the Vex ships approached Earth orbit, they received a transmission. This time using conventional quantum channels they could understand. "Vex diplomatic vessel Righteous Authority. This is Earth Command. We welcome you to Sol System. Your escort vessels are also acknowledged. Please proceed to the coordinates provided for diplomatic exchange." On the bridge of the Righteous Authority, Ambassador Krevalin felt a chill despite the ship's regulated temperature. The humans had detected their cloaked escorts, technology that should have been undetectable to a civilization that had shown no signs of advanced sensor capabilities. "How did they know?" his aide whispered. "It seems," Krevalin replied slowly, "that our intelligence on Earth is outdated." The diplomatic chambers of Harmonic Point transformed as the alien delegations arrived. What had appeared as a simple if elegant meeting space morphed before the visitors' eyes, walls flowing like liquid, ceilings opening to reveal the stars, floors becoming transparent to show Earth below. The programmable matter responded to the unspoken commands of the human hosts, a subtle demonstration of their mastery over physical reality itself. Commander Wei stood at the head of the human delegation, dressed in the formal uniform of Earth Command, midnight blue with the silver Phoenix emblem rising from flames. Behind her stood representatives from Earth's unified nations, scientists, cultural ambassadors, and a discreet security detail whose neural implants kept them in constant communion with Earth's defense systems. The doors parted to admit the first alien delegation in 3 centuries to meet with humanity. Ambassador Krevalin of the Vex Imperium entered first, tall, his exoskeleton gleaming with ceremonial oils, compound eyes taking in every detail of the chamber and its occupants. Following him came representatives from the major galactic powers, the Thalassian Confederation, the Hive Networks, the Alliance of Seven, and a dozen minor powers that had scrambled to join this historic meeting. "Welcome to Earth, Commander," Wei said, her voice calm and measured. "After 300 years of silence, we are pleased to renew dialogue with the galactic community." Krevalin performed the formal gestures of diplomatic greeting. "The Vex Imperium acknowledges Earth's return to interstellar affairs," he said carefully. "Your signal was most unexpected, as was your ability to detect our escort vessels." Wei smiled slightly. "Much has changed during our silence, Ambassador. We have not been idle." "So we observe," said Zorek of the Thalassian Confederation, his azure tendrils rippling with what humans now recognized as anxiety. "Yet you maintained the appearance of isolation. No interstellar travel, no communications. Was this deception deliberate?" "Not deception," Wei corrected. "Strategy. 300 years ago, the Vex Imperium attacked Earth because they feared our potential. Our ancestors chose silence not out of fear, but to give humanity time to realize that potential without interference." Ripple of discomfort passed through the alien delegates. Kalara of the Hive Networks clicked her mandibles nervously. "Your signal employed technology unknown to any civilization in the galaxy. How is this possible without exchange of knowledge?" Wei gestured, and the chamber transformed again. The walls became transparent, revealing Earth below, not just its physical form but layers of data showing energy flows, transportation networks, and the subtle pulse of the planetary consciousness network. "We took a different path," she explained. "While the galaxy focused on expansion, we turned inward. We healed our planet. We united our people. We explored the boundaries between mind and matter, consciousness and reality." "Impossible," murmured a representative from the Alliance of Seven. "No civilization develops this way in isolation." "And yet, we did," Wei replied. "Sometimes silence is the most fertile ground for innovation." The demonstration that followed left the alien delegates in stunned silence. Lieutenant Chen, under Commander Wei's direction, showcased humanity's achievements during the silent era. First came the molecular manufacturing technology. Chen held up a simple metal sphere, then mentally commanded it to transform into complex machinery, then into organic-looking structures, and finally back to its original form. "Programmable matter," she explained. "The building blocks of our civilization now." Next came the consciousness technology. With permission, Chen established a limited neural link with the delegates, allowing them to briefly experience shared consciousness, a taste of how humans now communicated and worked together at the deepest level. "This is how Earth speaks now," Chen said as she gently dissolved the connection. "Not with radio waves or quantum signals, but mind-to-mind across any distance." Ambassador Krevalin's compound eyes reflected the light differently now, a sign of disturbed thought processes among his kind. "These technologies, they exceed even theoretical models from our most advanced research institutes. Which brings us to the central question," said Zorek, leaning forward. "Why reveal yourselves now? What does Earth want from the galactic community after 3 centuries of self-imposed exile?" Commander Wei's expression remained composed. "We seek what we always sought, peaceful coexistence, recognition of Earth's sovereignty and our right to develop without interference, and a place in galactic affairs proportionate to our contributions." "Contributions?" Krevalin questioned. "You have been absent from galactic commerce and culture for generations." "And yet," Wei countered, "in that time we've developed technologies that could transform life throughout the galaxy. Medical advances that could end suffering for billions, energy systems that don't deplete planetary resources, methods of consciousness, enhancement that could evolve sentient experience itself." She leaned forward slightly. We offer partnership, not dominance, but we also will not accept the subjugation that was attempted 300 years ago. The unspoken message hung in the air, clear to all present. Earth would not be conquered again. The diplomatic sessions continued for days, stretching into weeks. As the implications of Earth's return rippled through galactic politics, tensions increased. The Alliance of Seven, the dominant military coalition in the galaxy, grew increasingly concerned about the balance of power. In private chambers off the main diplomatic hall, Dex-Har, the supreme commander of the Alliance military, confronted Ambassador Krevalin. "Your people failed to contain them 3 centuries ago," he hissed. "Now look what they've become. These humans have surpassed us all while we weren't watching." Krevalin's exoskeleton creaked as he shifted uncomfortably. "What would you have us do? Their technology exceeds our understanding. We don't even know the full extent of their capabilities." "Then we must find out," Dex-Har replied coldly, "before they integrate into galactic society and it becomes impossible to contain them." Unknown to the alien leaders, Earth's consciousness, technology had evolved to the point where such private conversations were as transparent as public declarations. Commander Wei and the Earth Council received reports of growing military coordination among certain factions, particularly the Alliance of Seven and elements within the Vex Imperium. "They're afraid," Admiral Takahashi observed during an emergency session of Earth's Defense Council, "and fear leads to preemptive action." Wei nodded grimly. "They're planning to test our defenses, calculating whether they can still overwhelm us with superior numbers if they act quickly enough." The council chambers fell silent as the implications settled. After 3 centuries of peace and rebuilding, humanity faced the prospect of another conflict. "We should activate the full Guardian network," suggested General Santos of Earth's Unified Defense Forces. "Show them our true capabilities." Wei considered this. Not yet. Escalation would only confirm their fears about our intentions. She looked around at the assembled leaders. "Our ancestors chose silence as a shield. Now we must use revelation as a deterrent." The crisis came sooner than expected. As diplomatic talks entered their 3rd week, long-range sensors detected a massive fleet assembling at the edge of the Sol system. Alliance and Vex warships moving into formation under communications blackout. In the diplomatic chamber, Commander Wei confronted the alien representatives directly. "We are aware of the fleet movements beyond Neptune's orbit," she said, her voice steady but carrying an edge of steel. "This is not the action of civilization seeking peaceful relations." The chamber erupted into denial and counter-accusations until Supreme Commander Dex-Har stood, abandoning pretense. "Earth has become too powerful too quickly," he declared. "The Alliance of Seven cannot permit a single world to possess such advantages. For the stability of the galaxy, you must share your technology and accept oversight, or face containment." Ambassador Krevalin added, "The Vex Imperium concurs. 300 years ago, we acted to prevent human expansion before it threatened galactic order. The situation now is exponentially more concerning." Wei's expression remained unchanged. "So this was always your intention? Not dialogue, but demands backed by military threat." Dex-Har's facial ridges darkened, a sign of resolve in his species. "We have assembled the largest combined fleet in galactic history. 2,000 ships with enough firepower to reduce a planet to molten rock. This is not a negotiation. It is reality." A hush fell over the chamber as the alien representatives waited for Earth's response to this ultimate threat. They expected fear, anger, perhaps desperate counter-threats or pleas for compromise. Instead, Commander Wei smiled. 300 years, she said quietly. 300 years we prepared for this moment. Not just with hope for peace, but with the determination to ensure it could never be taken from us again. She stood straighter. "You believe you have us surrounded. The truth is, you have never seen our defenses because we never needed to reveal them." With a thought transmitted through her neural implant, Wei activated a holographic display in the center of the chamber. It showed the Sol system in real time, and surrounding the approaching alien fleet was a vast, previously invisible network of defenses that dwarfed anything the galactic powers had conceived. The Guardian Mesh, Wei explained calmly. Quantum-linked, defensive platforms throughout the system, capable of manipulating space-time itself. Your ships entered our defense grid the moment they crossed Pluto's orbit. The alien delegates stared in shock as the display showed their mighty fleet suddenly contained within a web of energy they hadn't detected. We could have destroyed your fleet the moment it formed, Wei continued. Instead, we waited, watched, hoped that dialogue would prevail over fear. She looked directly at Dexhar. We still hope for that outcome. The next 12 hours were the most tense in galactic history since the Great Schism centuries before. The alien fleet remained in position, now aware they were utterly at Earth's mercy. Emergency communications flew between the fleet commanders and their home governments. In Phoenix Station's command center, Earth's leadership waited. The Guardian Mesh remained active but non-aggressive, containing rather than threatening. They're reassessing, Admiral Takahashi reported, monitoring the consciousness feeds from the alien fleet. Their tactical analyses are in complete disarray. They had no concept our technology had advanced this far. Lieutenant Chen looked up from her station. Commander, Supreme Commander Dexhar is requesting private communication with you. Ambassador Kravalan as well. Wei nodded. Patch them through to the quantum chamber. It's time to establish new terms. The quantum communication chamber, a space where consciousness technology allowed for direct mind-to-mind dialogue, materialized around Wei as she entered. Within moments, the projected consciousness forms of Dexhar and Kravalan appeared. Your demonstration is impressive, Dexhar acknowledged, his mental projection radiating a complex mixture of fear and reluctant respect. The Alliance of Seven recognizes that military action would be counterproductive. Kravalan's consciousness form pulsed with ancestral memory. 300 years ago, we believed we understood humanity's potential. We were wrong then. We are wrong now. Earth does not seek dominance, Wei replied, allowing her thoughts to convey the absolute truth of her words in a way no spoken language could achieve. But neither will we accept subjugation or oversight from powers that approach us with threats rather than respect. The consciousness exchange continued, laying the groundwork for a new relationship between Earth and the galactic community, not as supplicants or conquered people, but as equals, perhaps even leaders in a new era of development. 3 days later, in the great diplomatic chamber of Harmonic Point, representatives from all major galactic powers gathered to sign the Sol Accords, a new framework for Earth's integration into galactic affairs that acknowledged both human sovereignty and the transformative potential of Earth's technological contributions. As Commander Wei applied her signature to the historic document, she thought of her ancestors, who had made the difficult choice 300 years before to vanish from the galactic stage not in defeat, but in strategic withdrawal. To use silence not as an end, but as preparation for a new beginning. Outside the chamber windows, the alien fleet was departing, not in victory or defeat, but in a new understanding of a galaxy forever changed by humanity's return. Lieutenant Chen stood beside her commander, watching the departing ships. They'll never underestimate us again, she observed. No, Wei agreed, but neither will they fear us, if we proceed wisely. She gestured to the Earth shining below them, its unified civilization now revealed in all its transformed glory to the watching stars. Our silence gave us strength. Our voice will give us purpose. As the last alien ships disappeared into fold space, Earth continued its orbit around its aging sun, no longer isolated, no longer hiding its true nature. After 3 centuries of silence, humanity had returned to the galactic stage, and nothing would ever be the same again. The galaxy had trembled, not at a conqueror, but at a civilization that had transcended through silence and emerged transformed. Now, it would listen to what Earth had to say.